Somber looking guy walks up, spends about a couple of minutes listening to me, then raises his hands and says, मैं किसान का लड़का हूँ, मेरे को ज़्यादा मत समझो, मेरे को दूध के बारे में सब पता है.
Most retention marketers talk about push notifications. Tamal Chatterjee talks about milk purity, delivery operations, and loyalty in liters.
One thing that we did not want to have ever was an entry barrier. So there are no weekly, monthly, annual kind of subscriptions. Sad part is that everybody wants their milk at 7 a.m. Now I can't service 36,000 customers at 7 a.m. dot. We know that our customer, once they have recharged for the entire month, we would probably have to undergo some effort to ensure that he opens the app at least twice or thrice in a month. That itself is a challenge.
In this episode of the State of Retention Marketing, we decode how Sid's Farm turned milk, yes, milk, into a repeat-worthy, trust-first brand with thousands of loyal customers.
I keep meeting these customers every weekend, and all of them, I see they take such pride in telling me, I tried your products and then I converted all our relatives and neighbors into being Sid's Farm customers because I am convinced I am buying the right product. More than 80% of the customers that we serve today have been with us for more than 2 years. Over a 12-month period, we see a retention rate of around 35 to 36%. The qualified leads that we get, our conversion is anywhere between 36 and 40%. Over communication might not be the trigger, okay? So they might call you up and abuse the living daylights out of you, but we don't see them leave. We see them leaving primarily for two reasons.
From churn triggers to LTV in a low margin game, this is retention strategy with a splash of dairy logic.
Every weekend, I meet these customers at our farm, and one very basic question that they have is that, do you send your cows to the slaughterhouse? We are talking of customers who are now elevated to a level where they really want to understand what is the effect of their action on the society. Talking about the price, today it is expensive because we are doing things that are probably a little out of the way, but which are the right things to do. We all like our lives. You don't really want being bombarded with messages from your milkman.
Tune in, it's the cream of the crop stuff. What happens when two grown men sit down for a very serious conversation about milk? Hi folks, I'm Priyam from WebEngage. Welcome to the State of Retention Marketing podcast, where we unpack how India's boldest brands turn fleeting clicks into lifelong customers. Today's guest is Tamal Chatterjee, Chief Growth Officer at Sid's Farm, a dairy brand that's quietly built one of the most trusted, high retention businesses in India's most unsexy category. We talk about why retention and not refrigeration is the real moat in dairy, how purity, tech, and customer obsession became their secret sauce, and what happens when you realize that churn isn't just about bad milk. If you think dairy is just a commodity, think again, because Tamal's got a few things to say. Let's dive in. Very excited to have you on the show today, Tamal.
Likewise. Yeah.
So, Tamal, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Sid's Farm as well. The viewers would love to find out more about the brand.
Oh, about me, I am a marketer at that weird cusp of my career where I am not exactly old and not really young, right? So I kind of have seen the best of both worlds and still trying to balance between them. So I consider myself the bridge between these two worlds, where there is one school of thought that says that only ATL and BTL work, and then there is another school of thought that says that nothing beats performance. Yeah, so I kind of consider myself the bridge between the two. But yeah, I see that this transition is happening beautifully today. So I have been a marketer for about 22 years now. Dabbled in all sorts of industries, from consumer durables to B2B e-commerce to technology to rural marketing, and then the dairy bug bit me about a decade back, and I have been a dairyman ever since. It's fun when people ask me, what do you do, and I say doodh bechta hoon. So my current stint, like you have already said, I am with Sid's Farm, one of the leading premium dairy brands of the country. We are currently in Hyderabad and Bangalore, and very soon we are going to have our operations in Pune and Mumbai too. Right, so that's how we are growing. So Sid's Farm, very interestingly, started more than a decade back with a very simple thought that there are these numerous parents who want only the best milk and dairy products for their children. How exactly do they get that assurance? So that is the genesis of Sid's Farm. The name Sid's Farm also comes from the name of Siddharth, our beloved Sidhu, who is our founder, Kishor's eldest son. So this is like a promise of a parent to a child that you will have access to pure, adulterant-free, antibiotic-free, hormone-free milk all your life. And we just wanted to extend this promise to millions of parents around. So that's what we have been following day in, day out. Absolutely zero tolerance for any deviation. And that is what keeps us going also. And that is exactly what gets us all the love that we get from our customers too.
There's one thing that I want to talk about. You mentioned that the brand was born out of a need, a very real need to provide pure milk, right? Antibiotic free, pure milk, which is organic and really good for you. Now, I'd love to understand, Tamal. I feel that there has been an explosion of so many brands out there which are really streaming organic at the top of their voice. And I am personally all for it, but I would love to understand. India has always been big on milk and milk products, right? They're one of the largest, if not the largest, producer of milk and milk products in the world. We've got amazing brands like Amul and the likes, who are national dairies who are producing so much of produce for such a long period of time. I would love to find out if there was an inflection point where brands realized that this is a blue ocean which is going to explode, and that is organic, and the fact that there's a need for antibiotic free, organic, really pure product.
Yeah. So as far as inflection point is considered, so let me just reiterate. You were right when you said that India is the largest producer of milk in the world. India is also the largest consumer of milk in the world. Okay, so we do consume most of the milk that we produce. Of course, we are also large exporters, and we do that. I mean, brands like Amul have done groundbreaking work and have put us on the global map and put us where we are today, right? But having said that, the cooperative movement, when it started off with Operation Flood in the 1970s, okay, the requirement was very different. You need to understand that at that point in time, we did not have enough milk per household. Parents did not have enough milk to feed their children, let aside for tea and other stuff, right? So the requirement then was to fulfill this lacuna that was there and to bring in a higher quantity of milk into the country, okay, which was done by bringing in all these European breeds of cows, crossbred, of course, into the country. And that led to this flush. And eventually, we are where we are today, you know, producing the maximum amount of milk globally. Okay. What we feel is somewhere along this, one thing that we have missed is that in a bid to make milk available, easily available to all households across the country, we haven't really given, I won't say absolutely no thought, but we haven't given real deep thought to what we could do to, one, ensure that the quality of milk is at par with global standards, okay, and two, also, how do we make our or improve the quality of output from our indigenous Indian breeds. Okay, there is a lot of work that has started in the last decade or so. I would say about 12 years, 12, 15 years now, that there is a lot of work that has started in both these spheres, because this realization has kind of dawned, and we realized, a debatable topic, but then there was a huge surge of A2 protein in milk, right? So a lot of people vying for it and people willing to pay a premium for A2. Now, I want to make it clear at this point that A2 protein by itself is not priced at a premium because, it has something special or anything of that sort. It's just a protein type, right, that is found in the milk. But just the fact that it is produced by only our indigenous Indian breed of cows, which probably produce 1/3 the quantity of milk per day that an European cow produces. So the scarcity is what makes it dearer. Okay. But of course, I mean, giving it a more patriotic angle, probably, yes, we should work on this, and our indigenous Indian breeds is what we should promote and see how we can improve the yield there. So we work very closely with farmers, right? So we work with close to about 5,500 farmers directly. Yeah. And we continuously ensure, we've got a large backend team, we continuously ensure that at least this part of it, the best practices, the implementation of best practices is taken care of, right? Of course, the testing bit is there, right? I mean, it's kind of difficult to believe, but for the 55,000-60,000 liters of milk that we process on a daily basis, if we were to count every individual test that we do in excess of 14,000 tests every single day. Okay. Yeah. So absolutely paranoid about it. We test at a can level just to ensure that we don't miss out. Of course, at a can level also because we can trace it back to the farmer.
You mentioned tests. So many, 14,000 tests, right? And I can see that on your website as well, that you guys take testing very seriously and it's really front and center of your positioning.
We do.
Just out of curiosity and for lack of knowledge, what is it that the milk and the products are being tested for?
Oh, okay. I didn't want this to be a platform for that discussion, but yet since you brought it up, there are several things. Okay, so we keep talking about adulteration. There are so many reports that come out, and there was some time back there was this FSSAI report that made the headlines where they claim that more than 40% of milk in India is adulterated. But we don't work at the root of it. We need to first understand why does adulteration happen. Okay. Adulteration happens when a farmer feels that he or she is not being paid enough for the milk that he or she is producing. See, the beauty of dairy farming in India is that nobody does it as a primary profession. People have some farmland where they do some agriculture, they do some crop growing, they get paid for it twice or thrice a year. And they, on the sidelines, have about 5, 6, 10 cows or buffaloes. They sell this milk for their day-to-day sustenance. Okay. So 99% of the farmers, I strongly feel, still don't care as to what they're getting paid for it. Okay. Unfortunately, not a single dairy farmer in India has eyes on their P&L. They really don't know what is going in and how much are they getting paid for.
Correct.
Okay. Just to give you an example, okay, so when Kishore, the founder, started this off, I'm talking of somewhere around 2013, 14, around that point in time, right? So he started it off as a small dairy farm. He really wanted to see which way it goes. And with the 20 cows he had, he was spending about 25 rupees a liter at that point in time to produce, say, a liter of cow milk, right? And when he went to sell this in the bulk market, okay, the rate that was being offered to him was in the range of 15 to 16 rupees a liter.
So he's not breaking even at all at that point.
Not at all. I mean, so here is someone who is, highly educated, has spent a lot of time outside the country. You would think he would have some sort of bargaining power, right? If he is not being able to get it, how does a poor farmer residing in a remote village get that?
That's an amazing insight.
There are 3 things that we do right, Priyam. Okay, so one is we pay fairer. Okay. 2, we test like crazy. And 3 is we chill like crazy. Because there is no rocket science to preserving milk, right? So the only ethical way of preserving milk is by chilling it. Unethical, having spent a decade in the industry, I can tell you 100. But the only ethical way of preserving milk is by chilling it, right? So these are the 3 things that we do right. Now, when you talk about adulterants, because you spoke about it, right? So what could go wrong? So milk is comprised of mainly a lot of water. And then there are solids. The solids are again divided into fat and anything that is not fat. So we simply call it fat and solid, not fat. Simple people, like, right, dairy guys, we didn't want to complicate it. So the solids are clearly demarcated into fats and solids, not fat. That's about it. And a farmer gets paid basis the quantity of fats and solids, not fat, in the milk that he brings in.
Right.
Okay. Now imagine here is a farmer who feels dejected, who feels cheated, who feels he is not getting paid enough for what he is getting. He starts adding thickeners to it. Because the first machine that actually checks for this milk is a simple ultrasound machine that sends a pulse through the sample of and tells you how much fat and SNF is there in the milk. It cannot tell you whether the fat is milk fat. It cannot tell you whether the SNF is what should be there in milk or not. It just tells you that the milk is thick.
At a very
Okay.
broad level.
So that is where, thickeners like cheap salt, cheap sugar, um, unfortunately, things like urea, melamine, and other things start getting added into milk. Anything that is white, not easily detectable, gets into milk to make it appear thicker. Okay. So it is important to test for these because here is a promise. Our brand is a promise, right? So our brand is a promise to every parent around that you will get only real milk for your family. So just to ensure that nothing other than what should be there in milk, we test for all of these things. Next come preservatives. Okay, so when we talk about preservatives, I mean one of the most common preservatives used uh, abundantly is caustic soda because milk curdles. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much science here, but
Oh, this is fascinating. Please.
yeah, very basic this thing. So milk curdles because the sugar in milk, the carbohydrate in milk, which is lactose, is consumed by the bacteria that is present in milk and they convert it into lactic acid. So
Correct.
anything acidic is sour, it splits the milk, right?
Correct.
So some smart high school pass out realize that if acid is being formed, why not add a base to it and it would be neutralized. Okay. So yeah, so that is where caustic soda started getting added into milk. One of the commonest sources of caustic soda being our household detergent, because that is the main component, caustic and our household detergent. Yeah, so that started getting added to milk. That is just one side of it. I mean, things like, say, for example, uh, hydrogen peroxide. You would remember when we were younger, our parents would probably put a drop or two in our
That's right.
ear
Yeah.
for it to froth up and the wax to be clean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
imagine adding that to milk and you drinking it, what it does to your intestinal linings, right? So hydrogen peroxide is one of them. Formalin, unfortunately, something that is used to preserve dead bodies, is being added to milk. Okay, so these are the preservatives again. Next come antibiotics. So we are absolutely bonkers about antibiotics, right? So WHO has been crying hoarse for a long time, saying that probably the next pandemic is going to be triggered by AMR, antimicrobial drug resistance, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we are consuming a little bit of antibiotics with our daily diet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, so when an animal is sick, you really can't tell the farmer that let the animal die. I mean, if it has to be given antibiotics, it has to be given antibiotics. The same set of antibiotics that are used for humans that are used for the animals here. The only difference being you and I weigh between 50 and 100 kgs. A cow weighs around 350 kgs, a buffalo around 600 kgs. So that much more dosage of antibiotics going into its bloodstream. And the bottle clearly says that withdrawal period is 5 to 7 days, which clearly means that for the next 7 days, the milk that is going to be produced by this animal will have
Yes.
traces of antibiotics.
Correct.
Okay. But is a farmer willing to sacrifice milk from one animal for 7 straight days and lose that money? Probably not, right? So that is when all this milk gets mixed into the rest of the milk. And once it mixes with a larger quantity of milk, it goes below detection level. So the antibiotics are still there. You just can't, uh, detect them. So we test at a can level. We tested for it at a can level. We, like I said a little while back, Priyam, that we work very closely with our farmers, right? So what we also do is we tell our farmers that if you are giving antibiotics to animals, please give us milk from that animal in a separate can and mark it antibiotic positive. We would still pay you the entire amount for it. And we do that. We honor that. But then more than 99% of our farmers follow that. So we know that this milk is not to be given to our customers. Okay. So that way we save thousands of liters of milk from being rejected. Okay, so our rejection rates are also very high. I mean, on a good day, we reject anywhere between, say, 300 to 350 liters of milk. On a bad day, we have had to reject even 3 to 4,000 liters of milk. Okay, that's how seriously we take our testing.
Tamal, you mentioned that you are a dairy man, right at the beginning of the podcast. I can see why, because this has been an absolute masterclass. Uh, I can see that you are living and breathing the category and you understand the nuances of it. Of course, you have seen it up close, right? I really appreciate this. Now, I understand that there was a key insight that the farmers aren't being paid well or well enough for their produce. Therefore, they resort to adulteration to make sure they're able to make more money.
Yeah.
Milk is a high repeat business, right? High repeat category, but it's also highly commoditized. Super low margin from what I'm able to gather,
Yeah.
and it's obviously difficult to build some kind of for a brand at least to build a retention or a moat. Effective, it's a commodity, right? I mean, the third guy is also selling milk, the fourth guy is also doing that.
Yep.
Now I understand that this is where the insight you guys landed upon was that hey, uh, adulteration is a problem, purity is a challenge. So therefore, we are going to build a brand around the fact that we're going to give you the best quality milk. Now, was that enough, Tamal, to get customers to notice you, or did you guys have to dig in a little bit deeper and actually figure out, hey, are there any functional benefits to my milk versus the standard commodity that's sold outside?
Took some time, Priyam, to be frank. See, this is a constant endeavor, right? So you have to continuously work with the customers, continuously give them insights and things like that. However, fortunately for us, what happens is, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, Priyam, okay? Uh, when it comes to milk, I call it the humble milk. I call it the humble milk for a reason, okay? And this is what I tell when I talk to people also, that every time you get a raise after your appraisal, the first thing that you want to change is probably the way you dress or things like that. Nobody tries to think about I should switch to a better quality milk. So that by itself was a challenge. Plus milk, we have all literally grown up. You mentioned at the beginning of this discussion that India in India we are primarily a lacto-vegetarian population, right? So we have all literally grown up drinking milk, right? And I mean, when we were younger, you would remember things like lactose intolerance that we take very seriously today were
Yeah, of course.
they were myths, right? So,
That didn't exist during the time I was growing up, that's for sure.
yeah, they didn't. Man. But then the fact is that because we have been consuming milk on a daily basis, right? We somehow uh, tend to feel that we know everything about milk. And in India, there is also a fact that we all have some roots somewhere in farming, right? Our ancestors somewhere, we have been doing farming and things like that, share an interesting anecdote. I mean, I was in Delhi when I started my dairy career. In fact, I started in Delhi. Okay, so there was this brand that I was working for, and we had just launched curd, one of the variants of curd. And out there I was in a society trying to talk to people, tell them that this is what we have done with this curd and this is how we set it. There is no milk powder added in this to add thickness, absolutely natural process and all those things. And a somber looking guy walks up, spends about a couple of minutes listening to me, then raises his hands and says, मैं किसान का लड़का हूँ, मेरे को ज़्यादा मत समझाओ, मेरे को दूध के बारे में सब पता है. So that also becomes a challenge, when you have literally grown up drinking milk and seen milk in your kitchen every day, 365 days a year, it gets very difficult. मतलब people start thinking, यार नया क्या बताओगे दूध के बारे में मेरे को? Because of that itself, breaking that mold was difficult. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing to say, Priyam, but I would say COVID helped.
Oh, wow.
COVID helped, as in people really started taking things seriously. They started taking their health seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they started taking what they are putting inside their body more seriously and scrutinizing it, and that definitely was a help. Okay, this should have started long back. But I also feel that around the same time, so all of us, I mean, I wouldn't name them, but there are a few of us who started off around the same time, around the 2011, 12, 13 period, right? As premium dairy brands, okay? And I think that realization has started sinking in from that point itself, more so because I feel that Gen Z had slowly started taking over. Okay, if you ask me, I'm not really a Gen Z, right? So, but then yet, till date, मेरे घर पे कुछ भी anything, any decision that has to be taken, although there are other points that are weighed, the economics of it, of course, is a major factor, right?
Correct,
Which is
correct.
not as much for the Gen Z. I mean, today I was reading a report the other day. Some Reuters report that I was reading that today 35% of the population or the spending population is Gen Z. I mean, which is working out beautifully because these are, uh, to use a more modern term, woke populace who
Correct.
really want to understand what they are consuming before they invest in it.
Right.
And that is what is propelling us forth. That is what is giving us the wind that we need. Okay. So here we have customers who really want literature, who really want to talk to us, who really want to visit us. Interestingly, every Saturday we hold farm visits both in Hyderabad and Bangalore. So our customers, along with their families, every weekend there are anywhere between 50 to 100 people who come in.
Wow.
Okay. And we take them on something we call the pure milk trail. Okay. And we talk about everything milk, how milk is produced, what could go wrong with milk. We show them our testing facility, what we test for, why it is important. Okay. Plus whatever hands-on experience they want. We let them milk a cow, we let them ride a tractor, even cow dung cakes for that matter, and all those things, right? So at the I see every customer, irrespective of how new or how old they are in the system. Okay, I see them going through this entire customer life cycle journey within those 2 to 3 hours. Okay, from discovery to probably weighing what we are saying, and then at the end of it, when they are leaving, I know for sure that these are the people who I have probably converted as my spokesperson, my mouthpieces, and they are going to go back and talk about what we do here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it is an ongoing process. To answer you, Priyam, we are continuously doing a lot of things. We also have a property called Milkology, whereby we go to schools. Of course, we don't promote Sid's Farm there, but we talk about all things milk. We talk to students, we invite them over to our farm and things like that. Okay. Idea basically is that when they join the workforce and when they are a part of the consumer base, they should at least learn to question what they're consuming.
Right.
I strongly feel gone are the days where, the biggies would say, this is what we will give you and you shall be thankful for it. The customer has a voice, and the customer should question. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Tamal, tell me something, right? You mentioned the fact that COVID was the time when people started taking care of their health. I was one of those people. I was like really not exercising. I was sitting for long hours on a desk at a keyboard, right, and a mouse, looking at a screen. And I realized something has to change. And once I started getting more into fitness, I realized, my diet is just as important as my exercise, as my workouts. And that's when this actually happened, where I started reading labels and I started investing more time into, what is organic versus the mass-produced, commoditized kind of stuff that is available to us. And I started getting into this, and I got to know about A2 milk as a good alternative for folks who are struggling with lactose intolerance, for example. This is actually designed for those people who have those issues with dairy and dairy products. And I started actually using those products, and I realized that this is actually suiting me and my body type a lot more as compared to the standard milk I've been having for years, right? And that was more of a try to believe it kind of a thing, but it was led by that functional sort of difference, that call out that this is for folks who are lactose intolerant, right? Now, and then when I started investing more time, I realized that these are smaller dairies with artisanal products with a massive focus on quality, and that got me thinking that this effectively means better quality, right? And so therefore it's going to be slightly more expensive, but you're paying for it. You're not paying for it with your health. Now,
Yeah.
is that an insight that you guys have found out as well, Tamal, that these products are for people who are health conscious, who are not afraid to spend a bit more, and therefore we're going to lean towards that.
So when you invest in our milk, say for example, Sits Farm milk compared to XYZ leading brand of milk, you end up spending probably about 3 to 4,000 rupees a month more.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, that is the amount you spend when you go out with your spouse for a dinner.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, fair.
That's one dinner for you, right? And instead of that, you are getting 30 days of peace of mind, knowing that you are getting adulterant free tested milk at your doorstep every month. Okay, so it is just this that has to be brought has to be probably harped upon continuously. And again, talking about the price, right? So today it is expensive because we are doing things that are probably a little out of the way, okay, but which are the right things to do. I'm not saying the other leading players are not doing it, but they're doing it at a much larger scale, and they're probably not doing a few things that we premium brands are doing. Now, imagine if every milk producer, every milk producing brand in the country starts doing it. The same thing, right? Economies of scale kick in. Our milk doesn't have to be as expensive, right?
Fair. True.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be as expensive. But where does it start? It again starts at the consumer level. So the onus lies on you as a consumer to question that, is my milk tested? Can you assure me that 365 days a year, the milk that you are giving me will not have any trace of any antibiotic, will not have any trace of any synthetic hormone? Once you start questioning this, and all brands across the country start taking this seriously as the voice of the customer, I'm sure, the overall operations would be much more uh, efficient, and we would not have to price it. There are several things that we don't take into consideration. I'll just give you an example, right? So there are every weekend I meet these customers at our farm, and one very basic question that they have is that, do you send your cows to the slaughterhouse after they are done with their milking? So this
Okay.
seems to be a raging question, right? So we are talking of customers who um, going back to our MBA days, the basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So they are now elevated to a level where they really want to understand what is the effect of their action on the society, right? So here we have customers who are asking us, are you cruel? So that's what they are asking us point blank, right? Are you cruel? Are you sending your cows to slaughterhouses once they are done with their milking period? At our farms, the 4 farms that we own, we don't, right? But do you really expect a farmer living in a remote village to do the same? I mean, after a cow has outgrown its milking period, it is going to live for another 5 to 6 years,
True.
consume the same amount of fodder every day, and not giving a drop of milk. Who is going to pay for this? The consumer has to realize that if they are willing to shoulder this expense, a farmer really doesn't want to send his cow to the slaughterhouse. Someone has to pay for this, right? So
Correct.
these are small things that people. I feel this realization is also setting in. People are understanding what the nuances are of this industry, because there is a heightened interest in agriculture as a whole that I see in the last decade or so, and more so now. Okay, people really want to uh, save up, buy a farmland, and grow their own vegetables. And yes,
I'm one of them.
yeah. So you see, so that's what is happening. Which is a beautiful. I would say this is the beginning of a revolution. If people do it with their own hands, of course, you can't expect everyone to do it at scale. But
Yeah.
but if people do it with their own hands and they realize the hardships that a farmer goes through, okay, I feel they would be more sensitive towards what they are purchasing and really put in thought behind what they are spending on.
Absolutely, Tamal. Very well said. I'd love to step into the brand a little bit more. I'm very curious to find out, uh, what kind of a profit model do you guys have, first of all? Uh, I know for a fact that you guys are a subscription first business. You have an app as well. I'd love to find out a bit more about that, Tamal. I know you guys are direct to consumer, but do take us through this for the brand.
Yeah, so like you rightly said, Priyam, we are primarily an app-first brand. We are a D2C, started off as a D2C model, but as other channels started maturing, we have our presence there too. Okay, so more than 50% of our revenues come from subscription on our own app. Okay, roughly about 35% comes from e-com channels, majorly quick commerce now, but yeah, e-com
Wow,
channel as of now.
35%, right, from quick commerce?
Yeah, it does. It does about 35%.
Amazing.
And close to 10% from retail. We really did not proliferate into retail because we realized that we are a niche brand and we really won't do well in local mom and pop stores. So we limited ourselves to modern trade and larger retail outlets, say A plus category stores. Okay, so that's how we are, and we are only in Hyderabad as far as retail is concerned. We are now considering, starting this off in Bangalore and eventually in Mumbai and Pune too, to see how the retail channel treats us. But like I said, I mean, primarily subscription. Okay, that's what we do. We acquire our customers again online and through a whole BTL activities also that we conduct regularly. Okay. And then the next chunk, of course, comes from e-com, where we do not have a lot of control. We don't know who our customer is, but of course, ROAS is what we measure. This is the spends that we do, and are content with that. Yeah.
Fair, fair. Two things that I would love to talk about: the 35% share, which is, I'm guessing, fairly recent and dominated by quick commerce, that too in just one city right now. And the first
No,
question.
through quick commerce again. I'm sorry, I cut you there,
Oh,
Priyam.
sure.
So, through quick commerce, what happens is that we also have a few ambient products, right? Like, say, for example, ghee. So ghee does not need refrigeration. It's an ambient product. We have got a long shelf life UHT milk, buffalo milk, which does not need refrigeration and has longer shelf life. So these products are available across over 90 cities through quick commerce as of now.
Okay, all right.
So they have spread these across the country. But yes, of course, the fresh produce that we have are only in Hyderabad and Bangalore as of now. And a
Got it.
little bit in Mumbai is what we have started, yeah.
Got it. So, how many categories does the brand have, Tamal?
So we have got fresh products. As far as fresh is concerned, we've got liquid milk. And in value-added products, we have got curd. We have got a few variants of curd. Okay. So when we started off, right, so you need to understand that we realized that we would probably always primarily be a metro concentrated kind of a brand. Of course, tier twos are also waking up now, and we are also making inroads into tier twos. But when we had started off, we knew that we would probably first have to capture the metros. Okay. And when we talk metros, we are talking of a cosmopolitan mix of population. So there is this whole mix of people who have grown up drinking either cow milk or buffalo milk, not
Right.
both, right? So I come from the eastern part of the country. I have grown up drinking cow milk. So till date, everything that enters my house is all cow, as
Right.
compared to someone from Haryana who would have grown up drinking buffalo milk, would
Correct.
want everything buffalo, right? So that was the first demarcation that we wanted, and that is how we divided our product line also. So all our products are divided into cow and buffalo ranges. So we have got cow milk, cow curd, cow ghee, cow buffalo butter, so on and so forth, right? So again, coming back to the categories, like I said, so we have got liquid milk, we have got curds, we have paneer, we have ghee, we have butter, we have a few beverages, lassi, buttermilk, flavored
Wow.
lassi. Yeah. We had started off with desserts some time back, but we realized that it was a little premature. We want to come back to desserts, but probably when we are ready to uh, take on it as a independent standalone category, and have more products to launch, sort of a thing. Yeah. We also diversified a little this year. What we did was that we realized that apart from this, we also want to get into dairy adjacencies, products that are ambient, products that don't really need refrigeration. So we also launched our breakfast cereals a couple of months back. Okay. And touch wood, they're doing fantastically well. We also realize that flavor-wise, we want to probably, apart from the ones that are pretty standard, we also wanted to do some experiments. So we have got these mango millet pops, and we have got chokoragi crunchers, and honey and nut muesli, and people are loving them. They are buying them. We also have these in single serve packs as of now, so which makes it all the more easier for the D2C customer, because they don't really have to measure scoopfuls. So they just tear a packet, either have it as a snack or mix it with milk or yogurt and have it. Okay, so that is what we have been doing. Going forth, also we also probably this year we would want to dabble a little with the high protein category, because that seems to be the buzzword now. So we are coming up with our high protein lactose free milk in a few weeks time. Okay, which will be followed soon by high protein paneer. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we would also want to get into the I don't know, child, I mean, the baby food category through milk mixes. So we are experimenting with a few milk mixes. Let's see how that goes. But we would also definitely want to have all natural milk mixes to go with our milk.
Awesome. So really the full stack dairy game, guys. You guys are killing it up at that. Really amazing. So I'm glad you mentioned protein, right? Because I'm guessing since you guys are processing a large amount of milk daily, you would have access to a large amount of whey, right?
Yeah, we do.
So is that something which you guys are thinking upon right now? Because protein seems to be really exciting right now, because everybody's talking about deficiency, and Amul especially keeps doing these launches, right? So is that the same thinking here?
See, it is also important, right? So, with a large section of our population being vegetarians, I mean, they need their source of protein. People who are not have consuming animal protein, they need some vegetarian source of protein, right? And definitely, this is a game changer. I would say, and especially with like we discussed a little while back, people getting more and more health conscious. They are actually counting how much their protein intake is on a daily basis.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm one of them. I'm obsessed.
See, so that's where we feel that if you are clear about, say, for example, one serving of our high protein milk, say 200 ml, is giving you, let's say, 15.6 grams of protein. So you are sure that you consume a bottle and this is how much protein is going inside my body. Okay, so this is making things simpler for whom it really matters. Yeah.
All right, Tamal, let's jump back to the brand. You mentioned that you guys wanted to win over metros, and uh, you have a massive list of products, many SKUs, many categories that you guys are playing into.
Yeah.
And 50% of your business is subscription driven, app first, so therefore you're able to get a lot of information about who your customer is. Talk us a little bit about, talk us through that. Who is your customer exactly, and what kind of a typical life cycle journey do you see? Right from the very first impression all the way to a loyal customer who's, say, purchasing month on month from you guys.
So, let me begin by saying that, more than 80% of the customers that we serve today have been with us for more than 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah,
What kind
yeah.
of a retention rate do you guys have, Tamal, on the app?
So over a 12-month period, we see a retention rate of around 35 to 36%. So that's what we see. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
People who actually use our products and they understand, but then initially there is always this skepticism, right? So we send this communication out, people see our ads, they click on it, they download the app, and we also have a large decently large onboarding team, an acquisition team that then reaches out to these customers and tries to talk to them and engage with them and also answer any queries that they might have. Okay. The success rate is good. I mean, of the qualified leads, I'm saying the qualified leads that we get, our conversion is anywhere between 36 and 40%. So, which is not bad, right? So, and of course, people have a whole lot of questions. They have a whole lot of, especially when they are dealing with a premium brand. So, the expectations are also heightened, right? So, they also have a whole lot of expectations, which we try to meet. Uh, at the end of the day, it is all about the product. Boils down to product quality and the service quality that they are getting.
Correct.
So that's something that we take very seriously. We have a large customer support and customer excellence team, along with a very large uh, supply chain team that works day in day out to ensure. So we have, as of last month, I think we had about 99.4% delivery accuracy. That's what we had. So that is something that we take very seriously. But then, of course, then there are you get all sorts, right? So we also have customers who have demands like, here is the bag that I'm going to hang outside my door. Your delivery person has to deliver the milk packet inside this bag and has to use only his right hand. He cannot use his left hand.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So those things. I mean, we also sometimes get queries that can you give us milk from a cow that has no black spots? We want a pristine.
All right. I mean, I'm sorry I'm laughing, but it's a bit funny.
Yeah, so I know, but then people expect that, and I don't blame them, right? So here they are willing to pay a premium for the milk, so they would want it their way, right? So some of it we can address, some of it we can fulfill, some of it we cannot, and we, humbly fold our hands and say this is beyond us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
But then,
talk about personalization. That's next level.
yeah. So, I mean, even after the customer is onboarded and starts his or her subscription, we have seen that the first 30 days are kind of a little, topsy-turvy, because you have invested in this, but you are still not sure whether you made the right investment or not. Okay, as the back of your mind, it's always you're still trying to weigh the benefits against the expense that you are making, right? So it is super important that during that period we constantly reach out to this cohort of customers, and even this cohort of customers who are, let's say, who have joined us within this month. Okay, for the next 30 days, we try to break them down further into how are they behaving. Are they regular with their recharges, or do we have to send them reminders? Do they recharge after an SMS reminder, or do we have to call them to tell them, sir, please recharge your wallet, you won't get your supplies tomorrow, sort of a thing. So we break them down into these five further micro cohorts, I would call them, and then communicate with each of them differently, because we realize that their requirements are different. Okay, and we have to position our brand and our offerings to them differently.
Correct.
That there is a set of customers who swear by our milk, okay, but I can't get them to buy our ghee, because at the end of the day they come back and tell me that we have a small family and the amount of malai or cream that we get from your milk is enough to boil and make ghee for my family for a month. Why should I buy your ghee?
Wow.
Okay, so that itself is another set of challenge for me. How do I get these customers to either buy, or at least I don't know, make their neighbors and friends and family buy our ghee, sort of a thing. Okay, so it's a constant discovery for us also.
Correct.
Okay, as we keep working with them, and somewhere, people talk about loyalty programs. So we have referral programs too. I know. So we used to run very basic referral programs. We were also very immature about a few years back, but then very basic referral programs where you refer someone, and if that customer converts into a subscriber, you get X amount of cash back and things like that. Somewhere down the line, we also realize that who are these customers that we are dealing with? Coming back to the question that you had, who is our customer, right?
Yep.
So our customer is this aware customer who doesn't mind spending but wants only the best for himself and his family. Do you think he really would refer someone for, say, X amount of cash back into his wallet so that he can get 7 days of milk free? I really don't think so. That's not what he is looking for. He's looking for a deeper value. He's looking to, I don't know, one of my favorite topics, again, I'm going back to it, maybe digressing a little, but Simon Sinek's golden circle, right? So the why, how, and what we are doing. So how are these customers being able to relate to the why of it? How are they being able to position themselves within their society as the torch bearers of pure milk consumption, kind of a thing, and how do we facilitate that? So that is something that they're looking for. That recognition is something that they're looking for, and we realize that we should actually be working towards this rather than giving them mere cashbacks for every referral that they do.
Amazing, amazing, Tamal. I completely agree with the fact that I would probably not recommend friends or family a product or a service that I myself am not happy with just because I'm getting freebies. That doesn't make sense. Till the time I'm not convinced about the quality and I love the brand, I would definitely not do that.
I keep meeting these customers every weekend, right? And all of them, I see they take such pride in telling me, I tried your products and then I converted all our relatives and neighbors into being Sits Farm customers because I am convinced I'm buying the right product, kind of a thing. That kind of is sort of an ego boost for us also, right? When you hear your
Absolutely.
customers say this.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. No
Yeah.
greater joy, I'm sure. Tamal, you mentioned some really interesting bits, right? Like people have these expectations of personalization. They want milk only from a cow who's a particular color, or they want something even more specific. Now, two questions. One, what kind of a subscription structure do you guys have? First of all, is it a weekly, monthly kind of a thing where, say, there's a minimum trial period, right, where the person is getting to understand this? And the second question, did you discover any like surprising or unique churn triggers, right, which made people think, oh, okay, I'm not continuing with this brand, that's it?
Okay. So one thing that we did not want to have ever was an entry barrier. Okay. So there are no weekly, monthly, annual kind of subscriptions. Okay.
Got it.
Going forward, we are thinking, in fact, our app is undergoing a revamp as we speak. So maybe in a couple of months from now, you would see a whole new app with a large amount of hyper personalization that would be there, where we will be able to track the behavior of our customers better. But as of now, it is like, you want a $50 worth of product, please recharge your wallet with 50 rupees, order it, and we'll deliver it to you. So there is no subscription. I would say it's not mandatory as of now. You can also ad hoc purchases on our app, sort of a thing. But we do push for subscriptions because it is easier for them and for us. Okay. One thing that also happens, and you would agree with me, Priyam, here, is the fact that when you have an app specifically for milk and dairy products, you don't tend to open the app on a daily basis.
True.
Okay. Once you have recharged it, I mean, this is not like a pick-com platform where you suddenly decide that, okay, I want to order this, you go there, and by the way, you also explore other categories and maybe do some impulse buying, sort of a thing. So it becomes so much more difficult for us because we know that our customer, once they have recharged for the entire month, we would probably have to undergo some effort to ensure that he opens the app at least twice or thrice in a month and see what offers we have and what is new and things like that, right? So that itself is a challenge. I mean, we have customers, I mean, it's a very small cohort though, but then we have customers who probably recharge, say, anywhere between 12 to 15,000 for the next 5 to 6 months, and they forget about it.
Wow.
So they do that recharge in one go and they're like, bas ab dete raho. So for someone who is a subscriber of milk and has probably recharged for the next 6 months, how do you go back to them and tell them, ki, bhai sahab, we also have curd. This is the new cereals that we have launched. Why don't you try them and things like that? Because as far as he is concerned, he has recharged and he's done.
Correct.
Okay. So I think, continuous prodding and very interesting content also plays a pivotal role here to ensure, but then, like I said, there are all sorts. We also have customers who fly off the handle if you try to communicate with them more than once a week, sort of a thing.
Of
Because,
course.
yeah. I mean, we all like our privacy here. Right? So
Correct.
you don't really want being bombarded with your milkman, with messages from your milkman saying that ye naya hai, ye le lo, isme 10% discount hai, ye le lo types.
So So were these one of those triggers, those churn triggers that you guys encountered, Tamal, which led people to stop using?
Not really. So when it comes to what we have realized is that it is slightly because people who opt for our brand or any premium brand for that matter, when it comes to dairy, something as basic as dairy or food, let's look at food as a category. Okay. So they get involved with a brand at a slightly deeper level. So over communication might not be the trigger. Okay. So they might call you up and abuse the living daylights out of you, saying that why are you doing this sort of a thing, and if I get another communication from you, I'm going to complain to try and take you to the courts and all those sort of things. So we get those threats once in a while, but we don't see them leaving. So we see them leaving primarily for two reasons. Okay, one, when we see there is a serious lapse in service or in deliveries and things like that. Okay, that is one one reason for which we have seen people leaving, and the other cohort that kind of tends to leave, or the churn that we see majorly, is from customers who we now feel were never our customers to begin with.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they came into
Just
the
bad,
funnel.
bad match.
Yeah. So they came into the funnel because they wanted to try something. Okay. And then they feel that XYZ brand is giving me the same value for a lower price. And then they tend to gravitate towards other brands. So that also keeps happening. Now, the interesting thing with these customers also is the fact that they keep shuttling between brands. So a customer who leaves me in this month, there is no guarantee that he won't come back in another 2 months to me. So that also keeps happening. So there is a floating populace, okay, that we see. We have also seen instances where people have preferences particular to product. I have met customers who have said that your milk is unparalleled, so we buy only your milk, but so and so company's curd is better, so we buy your curd, we buy their curd. So that also happens.
Purely preference driven, right? You can't really do much about that. Are your delivery operations in house, or have you guys outsourced that? Because I'm assuming that would be, apart from refrigeration and manufacturing, this would probably be a big part of your ops costs.
Probably one of the largest, yes. So we have a team of about 550 delivery boys in Hyderabad and another
Okay.
one.
Completely in house.
Yeah. So about another 150. So they work with us part time, of course. So they work with us for about 4 to 5 hours in the mornings, in the early mornings.
Fair.
So around 550 in Hyderabad, and another 120 to 150 in Bangalore is what we have now. So it's a large fleet divided into warehouses, zones, and dark stores, and that is where they collect their load from and they do their deliveries. So there are routes defined for each one of them. For every uh, four, I think four. So for every four delivery boys, we have one backup boy, just to ensure that there are no deviations as far as deliveries is concerned in case someone decides not to turn up. So all of that entire infrastructure is in place. Yes.
And this, I am assuming, would be a very important part of the brand's promise, right? Which is freshest stuff delivered daily on time when you expect it. Almost like the 10-minute promise that most of the quick commerce guys have, right? So I'm guessing this is why in-house versus
It is.
outsourcing.
The sad part, Priyam, is that everybody wants their milk at 7 a.m. Now I can't service 36,000 customers at 7 a.m. dot, right? So we start pretty early. We ensure that our deliveries are completed within 7:30 and latest by 8 in the morning. So that's how it is. And people are happy with it. Okay. Sometimes routes change. Our customers who were accustomed to getting their milk delivered at 7 a.m. suddenly start getting their milk at 5:30 in the morning. That too is a cause of concern for them. But why am I getting my milk this early? Sort of a thing. Okay, so then we have to do our permutation combinations again just to ensure that they probably get the best value out of the service that we are providing them. Yes.
Interesting, and fascinating that you guys decided to go in-house versus outsourcing. Completely agree with the fact that it is super crucial for the
It
brands.
is. It is, right? So, I mean, see, what happens is since the entire team is in-house, you need to understand that it is also that even at the last mile, the delivery boy uh, feels like he's a part of the family of the brand, right? So the owners, he takes onus of it, he takes ownership of it. And our customers today, probably if it is delayed slightly, they don't call our help desk, they call the delivery boy directly, "Kahan hai? Abhi tak kyun nahi aaya?" types. Okay. That's the rapport that they have built with our customers.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Tamal, two more questions about brand before we move on to how you measure success and a lot of those things around attribution and success. Uh, First question is around trust, right? You mentioned that you're investing so much time, money, energy, and uh, uh, putting in effort to ensure your products are the best quality, right? And they're setting you benchmarks. All of this is primarily to drive trust, to build trust in your core audience,
You're right.
to get people to pay attention, right? Is this the biggest factor in dairy and success of the brand right now?
Yes, it is. It is, Priyan. And there are manifestations of this. Okay. Um, let me share another interesting anecdote. So I spoke a little while back about this Milkology platform, that is a property that we have where we go and visit schools and talk about milk, and then we invite them over, right? So a prominent school in Hyderabad, I won't name them, they came over, and along with them was a teacher who vehemently all through the walk kept telling us that I do not trust any packed milk. Okay, all you guys, I am sure, add some sort of preservative or the other. There is this milkman who has been supplying milk to me for the last 15 years, and I trust only him for the raw milk that he gives me. Okay, so the next day we were supposed to go to their school, and we had told them that the students, including the teachers, that why don't you bring milk samples from your home? Please don't bring them in their original form, bring them in glass jars or steel cans, whatever. We don't want to know what milk. We will test them in front of you. Okay. And as luck would have it, this lady brought in the milk sample from her home. The first thing that it failed for was hydrogen peroxide. Okay. Hydrogen peroxide. And she was aghast. Okay. I trust this guy so much. I never thought he would do this to me and things like that. But, I'll just go back a little to what I said a little while back, Priyam, that the only ethical way of preserving milk is by chilling it, right? But chilling costs money.
Yep.
You have to pay for the infra, you have to pay for electricity and all of that, right? You need a space primarily. Now, who would invest in this? Will your local milkman invest in this? Probably not. Okay. So, when he started off with you 15 years back, he was probably supplying to 5, 10, 15 families at the most, right? So he was milking his cows at 6 in the morning, and by 7, 7:30, he was delivering it to your doorstep. Today, when he is supplying 50, 60, 100 households, he probably has to milk his cows at 3 in the morning. Okay, and the milk has to stay outside for the next 3 to 4 hours without getting spoiled before he is ready to take it and deliver it to your doorstep. He doesn't want to invest in chilling. What is the simplest way out? Add some sort of a preservative. As simple as that. So a can of milk, 3 drops of hydrogen peroxide, and your raw milk is sorted for the next 3 hours. Okay, so this happens. So more than trust, it is important, what I feel, is to ask the right questions, what I keep harping upon, and ensuring that you are asking the right questions so that you get the answers that you want.
Absolutely.
Rightly trusting. So for us also, I mean, I very clearly say, please don't trust us. As we have a quality portal, by the way. So you pick up any of our products, there is a QR code behind, you just scan it, you land on our quality portal. And on a daily basis, we publish our milk test results every single day, 365 days a year. We publish our milk test results, including the number of liters of milk we had to discard on that particular day and for what reason. We want to maintain that amount of transparency with our customers. With transparency, we firmly believe will come trust. Okay, why should someone take me at my face value?
Correct.
Okay, I as a marketer can probably spend millions and say that I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Okay, but at the end of the day, when someone comes to visit my farm and I say, no, sorry, our farm is not open to outsiders, then I'm not really being transparent, am I? So we want every part of our process to be transparent. We want our customers to know where we are sourcing our milk from. We want our customers to know what kind of tests we are conducting. We want our customers even to know how much milk we are rejecting on a daily basis. And that feel eventually builds that trust that चलो यार ये लोग गलत कुछ नहीं करेंगे, at least they are being transparent about what they are doing.
True. Tamal, 2-3 metrics I want to talk about that you guys are obsessing over right now, which you're using to define success, retention.
Yeah, of course, lead count, conversion rate, okay, LTV, ABV. So very basic metrics that we are looking at right now. Okay. LTV, yes, we are pretty obsessive about LTV because we feel that the value is not what. So our conversion, our CAC isn't very high, frankly, Priyam. Okay. I think over a period in time through continuous experiments, we have been able to optimize our efforts to an extent where in Hyderabad, our CAC does not cross sort of a thing.
What channels have worked the best, Tamal, to get you guys the most amount of customers?
Mostly Meta as far as direct conversions are concerned. But we also spend equally on Google because we realize that visibility is also super. Whenever you are investing in something premium, it is not like you just see an ad and download and immediately order it. You also go back and you want to research. So we do spend equally on Google too, but the conversions are mostly attributed as of now to Meta. Okay, leads that are generated. So like I said, so because our CAC isn't very high, it doesn't take us very long to realize the CAC from customer. Okay, considering that the ABV of a customer is somewhere around I would say 2,500 to 3,000 rupees a month. Okay, so it doesn't take us very long to realize the amount that we have spent in acquiring that customer, but we really feel that the real value that we will get out of the customer is in the long run, because here we have someone who trusts us and would want to invest in any product that we bring out in the future. Correct. So that is where the real value lies. So we work very closely to ensure that the LTVs have been improving significantly over the last 2 years. Okay, we see a gradual increase quarter on quarter also as far as AA is concerned. And I started off by saying that more than 80% of our customers are more than 2 years old. So that does say something. So we want these customers to stick to us. Okay, even if it is only for one product, because then we have this base of customers who, even if they don't buy everything that we produce, would at least be honest sounding boards for us for everything that we decide to manufacture in the future. Yeah,
absolutely. Tamal, I think I'm done with my questions. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Yeah, this has been an absolute eye opener about not just the dairy industry but building a brand in this space. Thank you so much for your time, Chief.
Thanks, Priyam. Thank you so much. I loved this conversation. It's not everywhere that you get to talk at length about something you are passionate about, and you also get an interested audience, right?
And that's a wrap on this episode of State of Retention Marketing podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Also, don't forget to share it with your fellow marketers, founders, and anybody who enjoys a good growth story, because great insights deserve great company. Also, if you have any questions for us, find us on our social media channels. We are on LinkedIn and on Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you guys. And we're going to get a lot of cool guests on our next episode, so stay tuned.